is do a what we call a body check on somebody. So today, I think we'll do it with Reggie. Hi.
My body is ready.
Hi.
Hey everyone, Sean here, and today in this video for the Hawke Talks, I wanted to talk about quickly the official end of E3, the big convention as it used to be, right? It was highly regarded back in the past as kind of like the Super Bowl or video game Christmas and all that in between. You know, a lot of people were looking forward to this. It was like the time, right, to be like super excited and hyped. And that was the thing about E3. That was the buzz that it carried across the fan base of just gamers in general. Like if you're a gamer, you at least heard something about E3. And you know, it was that that cool kids club, right? It was industry only. Industry people can go in there and check out, you know, all the games and stuff like that, similar to that of other conventions like the LA car show and stuff like that, or LA auto show, excuse me, and so on and so forth. But E3 used to be that, but over time, unfortunately, things started to change. You know, the expenses, the costs, and stuff like that, and over time, other companies started to resort to other things, and Nintendo was kind of like one of the first major, if not the first major company to pretty much like step out of the boundaries, break the mold, and be like, oh yeah, we can do this on our own actually, via Nintendo Direct. I think EA Play was right around that same time-ish, if not before, which was this separate EA based event at the same time with the E3. It was in the same exact area. In fact, not it was like outside, you know, and you can like walk in anytime. You just get some goodies and stuff like that, like bags and stuff. And that was another thing too about E3. Like anyone who was in there were able to get all the like stuff, like bags, shirts, you name it. There was all kinds of little trinkets that you can get. And from what I was told in the past, there were a lot of things to collect, right? So people were just like going back and forth, getting these things by the truckloads, right? They were literally going back to their cars, throwing it in there, and then going back to get more stuff. That's how much stuff they were able to give out, you know, with these companies. But over time, with costs, the budget obviously was lower, so you know, less and less than that was happening. And you know, there are a lot of people like dreamed of going there. It was like something on their bucket list for a lot of people, for you know, all gamers of course, or a lot of gamers of course. I've had the privilege and opportunity to be able to attend to it twice. First time was via giveaway, and the other time was actually using my credentials as a partnered YouTuber under the partnership of Machinima at the time. So I used that to get my foot at the door, and essentially that was how I was able to do so. Now over time, they changed those guidelines and minimum sort of credentials, and so I could not make it beyond the 2 times I went there, but I got plenty out of it. And for me personally, I think it was an experience, to put it that way. It's definitely not for the average convention goer. It definitely does feel like a businessman's like gathering. You know, it's very business-like. You pass around business cards, network, and all that stuff, which I didn't. I really didn't take the opportunity to do so. I should have maybe, but it wouldn't have worked out anyway because of those individuals. But part Point being, though, it definitely did not have the right vibes for the average person. Hence why I feel like kind of jaded when it comes to E3 after those times. But the first time was great, or it was good, it was decent. But from what I was told, there were better E3s. There were better times before, and things started to change even more to the point where back to Nintendo, right, doing their own thing. But other companies were just like, hey, we can do this too, and basically E3 started to sort of lose its steam. It lost its value, and especially with the increasing costs. And not to mention there was that controversy with the information being leaked. Um, a lot of people's information was like given just uh, kind of just out in the open like that, leaked because of somebody's like incompetence from what I've heard. It wasn't even like somebody hacked into their system. I think somebody like kind of essentially left a door open and somebody um took the opportunity to do so. So that was very unfortunate. And who knows if my information was involved with that. But no, I think it was like major, just involved with major figures, I think. But I could be wrong on that. But anywho, um, just a lot of things took place. And I think the main reason, and I think this is pretty obvious for most part, is that times are changing. A lot of things were just shifting. E3 just kind of was just like a product of its time. There's nothing you could do really to change without changing what E3 was. It was always that cool kids club with businessmen that are involved with gaming. No matter what you did, what one could do, I mean, it really wasn't anything to resolve that. And most companies were trying, kind of like doing their own thing. And then you have people like Jeff Keighley and all that stuff to really hammer those nails down on that coffin. And I think really one of the final nails was definitely COVID. The pandemic definitely kind of like put everything on the halt. Um, Everyone was doing things at home, including those reveals, so on and so forth. And you know, kind of the rest is history, kind of thing. And uh, there was a one time they came back and they opened to the public, which I think was a big mistake. I don't think it really helped anything, honestly, because it made the industry people, feel like the value is very minuscule at this point. And then for the casuals, right, the people who are casual convention goers, I assume anyway, felt like it wasn't a premium experience, with all the lines and the management and the experience of it overall. There was just nothing much to it. You could have just literally gone to Comic Con or other such conventions, and you could have gotten more out of it. In fact, as strange as that sounds, even though E3 is just like this premier event with all the reveals and stuff like that. But it is not to say that I haven't had, any memories of E3. There are plenty of them, including, the Keanu Reeves reveal for Cyberpunk. That was actually a genuine. It felt like genuine. It felt like Keanu Reeves wanted to be there. But then it started the trend of like putting celebrities on stage and making them feel like, oh, I gotta endorse this product kind of thing. It's basically like a commercial, right? Throw the celebrity on there, make them say them some lines. That's it. They're out. They got their check. That's it. But when it came to Keanu Reeves, that was the exception. It definitely felt like there was a lot to it. But there are plenty of other cool times, cool reveals, including the Wii, My Body is Ready from Reggie. Plenty of things were born from that, right? And of course, all the presenters, the presentations, especially from Iwata-san of Nintendo at the time, plenty of memories, plenty of good memories, and plenty of hype was to be had. remember watching the reviews with friends in Discord. It was a time, when you just didn't have much to worry about in the world. But everyone gets older, gets more busy, and you know, because of the lacking worth and value of E3, not many as people tune in for it and such like that, or go to it. You know, people would rather just stay at home or do something else, really, from what I've seen. So a lot of those things are all kind of building blocks for the end of an era that is E3. Of course, there are replacements. There have been replacements, in fact, right in front of us with Nintendo Directs, Jeff Keighley's Summer Game Fest, Gamescom, so on and so forth. There's plenty of replacements, and uh, as sad as it sounds, I felt like E3 was just a blip on the radar by the end at this point. A little splash in the lake, and that's it. Meanwhile, other companies are thriving and such like that with their own presentations and such. PlayStation has their state of play, Xbox has their own presentation, Nintendo still has their directs, although sporadic and random, granted, but they're there. Yeah, you name it. And even with, of course, the Game Awards, it's becoming the new E3, except it takes place in winter, which is disguised as an award show. Oh, that whole controversy about the devs not being given enough time to do their speeches when they're given the award. Which of that episode ticks me off, but that'll be for a different topic. Point being, E3 was always replaceable. We just, I don't know, man. Are always, as humans, natural to just stick with what works, and are afraid to sort of go out the boundaries and see what's better at times. So that's why E3 was always the go-to for game reveals and stuff like that for the most part. But then there's always that one person or one entity to break the mold, and we come to realize, hey, this is better. This works. It's definitely better for them, and so they're not gonna buy that expensive ass spot for E3. Why spend all this money when we can just do it at home, kind of thing. That's really what it boiled down to, really, as simple as that sounds. So I've had plenty of good times again, and though even though I've said all those things about E3, I'll definitely miss it, and I'm sure a lot of people will, and it's kind of gone. It's almost like not having the Super Bowl or not having the Thanksgiving parade or something. Just something that you look forward to yearly is no longer there. you know. Um, Even though yes, yeah, we do have replacements for it, but it's just something about E3 that always brought that magic. It was always like brings some sort of mystery and excitement. Um, Especially when it's all conveniently in one week. You see all these like reveals back to back. But games, Summer Game Fest kind of feels scattered. It just scatterbrained. Kind of, it's hard to pick out like what happened and stuff like that until you wait for the news articles to pop up. But by then, the hype is over. Um, you can't really like digest it as well. Um, it's kind of all over the place, I feel, in my opinion. But it is what it is, and times are changing. That's just kind of how life works. And unfortunately, like with every beginning, there is an end, and E3 has met its end. So, um, I was lucky enough to experience it. I know, I understand that there are plenty of people that are sad for it, that they weren't able to go. I understand, but I promise you that there are plenty of other and better conventions for gaming or for anything really. I mean, when it comes to celebrating interests and hobbies. E3 was just a giant commercial and an opportunity to meet the businessmen and network with them, sure, but as a convention, you know, it's all right, right? There are plenty of demos to go around, but there's so many people, so many lines, and you can only get so much out of that. So you gotta really pick and choose what you really like, and that is that. But either way, E3 is over, guys, and that does feel like again an end of an era. So that is that, and life goes on. So yeah, thank you very much. This has been my thoughts about the official end of E3. You know, if you have any comments about E3, have you been there? Do you dreamt of going there? Did you just feel indifferent about it? What are your thoughts on E3? Leave me down below. Love to check them out. And don't forget to hit the thumbs up, the like, or whatever, and subscribe if you want to see more videos and support the channel. Really appreciate it, guys. So this has been the Hawk Talks on E3 having to meet its end. So now that's surprising, but and yet it does feel sad still somehow. It does make me feel sad, which is weird. But anyways, I'll let you guys go. Thank you very much, and hope to see you all in the next one. Sean out.